This meeting is now being recorded.
Okay, so what this means is it's just a system update. The communication brief that was sent out has a lot of really great detail in it on how to make sure that everything moves over, but it's not like that big of a deal. It's just a system update, and the majority of the users might not even notice anything different. So what users need to do is they need to move all of their personal reports and dashboards that are saved in their personal folders over to the CCB specific folder. So this is also a great way, if you have reports in there that you don't want anymore, you don't have to do anything about that. The system will get rid of them. If you have customized any list views or page layout or tab ordering that you want to keep, go ahead and just take screenshots of those and save those to your personal folder on your computer, not in the Unicorn. So once migration is complete, the system will act just as it does now. The migration is set to wrap up on February 20th. We're putting together a small group of users to test the migration and identify any issues. So if you have anybody that's interested, or if you yourself are interested, go ahead and shoot me an email and we'll be sure to include you on that user group. Oh, does anyone have any questions? Just to wrap that up. They're muted. Let me go back.
All guests have been unmuted.
Are there questions regarding the communication brief that was sent out last week? Okay.
All guests have been muted.
So you're going to have to just, if you have questions, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll try our best to get to everybody's question. I'm going to turn it over to Amanda.
Hi everyone, Amanda here. I know I have had some inquiries already about performance profiles, and you have been hard at work for what feels like an ongoing period of time of updating data, getting it cleaned and entered. So all of that work is definitely come to a close for federal fiscal year 15-16. So woohoo, way to go everyone. And it takes time to finalize all the data so that we can then report that to the Office of Special Education Program, to OSEP. So as it is right now, we have finalized our data. And what I want to do now is just kind of give you a high-level overview of state performance. And from there, I will be sending out individual CCB performance and be in contact with those, which you'll see on the next slide of just looking at percentages and where you fall on each of the indicators that you have direct impact on whether or not you are at a higher or lower percentage. So just a reminder to everyone that our state target, as defined by OSEP, is 100% on every indicator. And the indicators that you're specifically you're required for all indicators, and that's something we are, but for indicator 1, 7, 8A, 8B, and 8C, that you've been hard at work in the Unicorn updating. So indicator 1, timely services, this year we are at 92.16%. So looking at last year, we were at 99. So when you see on the next row, there's a column that says slippage. And that just is a measure that we report in OSEP of whether or not we stayed the same, got better, or went down. So we dropped a little bit in timely services. Indicator 7 for a 45-day timeline, you'll see that we're at 85.75%, and that is a drop of about 10% since last year. So we have a lot of work to do in that area. Indicator 8A, transition plan, we're at 92.91. Last year we were at 98, or not last year, but federal fiscal year 2014, so thinking back data-wise, the previous year, that we flipped in that area as well. 8B, our LEA notification, we're at 97.83%, so we had a couple percent drop since 2014. And then indicator 8C is, our star, we're a transition conference. This year we're at 98.36%, so we actually increased from 96.92 before. So looking at our overall indicator performance, just of these that we're highlighting right now, 1, 7, and the is that if we combine those, 93.4%. So we're dropping a little bit on those indicators that you have kind of the overall data control over. And then, Laura, do you suspect the slippage is due to getting used to the new data system? And I do think that may be a piece of it. And knowing that there was a period of time, we were requesting a lot of information being transferred over and a lot of data entry that needed to happen, looking at that data being reliable as well. That may be a piece of it. I also think that in some of the ongoing data entry timeline got pushed back. And that's, I think each CCB experienced that a little bit differently, that really pushed us on. So that may be one piece of it, but I don't think that is telling us the whole story.
Can I jump in a minute,
Yeah.
Amanda? So, looking at the 45-day timeline, we know that we have struggled for multiple years with capacity and, engaging with Child Find around the 45-day timeline. So this is not a surprise. This is feedback we've received from multiple communities about their struggles with meeting the 45-day timeline, and it's bearing out in our data.
Marianne, question is, how was the transition plan date calculated in 2014 since this was just added to Unicorn in September 2016?
So there was a field, so prior to the Unicorn, users were entering data into CCMS, and there was a transition plan field in CCMS.
Okay, so this next slide is kind of a breakdown, and I think the best way to do this is I want to share just overall looking at CCB performance as a percentile range. So like I said, we will be coming out with individualized CCB performance profiles to know exactly where you fall in each of these indicators. And the way that we're looking at this is kind of a green line thermometer. And it's broken up by indicator 1, indicator 7, 8A, 8B, and 8C. And the way this is chunked is if we look at the green bar that says 100% for indicator 1, that right now there were 3 CCBs out of the 20 that had 100%. So way to go. And what ideally we want to happen is we'd like to see over the course of time is that every one of these bars are all green because our target is 100%. So the next subset, to just get a general sense, is in the 95 to 99% range, we have 5 CCBs that fell within that range for indicator 1. We have 8 that fell within the 90 to 95% range. We have 3 that were in 85 to 89%, and we have 1 CCB that fell below 85%. So as we're looking at anything that falls in that yellow and red range, it's definitely an indication for improvement, and part of this may align already with the work that Ashley is doing with each of the communities as far as data entry, sending out notifications, and really making a proactive focus on having data entered in the Unicorn. So we'll see, I think, the area that we are shining a little bit more this year is definitely in indicator 8. So we have 9 CCBs that had 100% in that area. And as you can see just at a glance, indicator 7, that's the area I think we're struggling most. So we have 5 CCBs that are falling below 85% for indicator 7. And like I said, this is for fiscal year 2015. So thinking about this and taking this information as we're coming up and finalizing quarter 2 for 2016-17, that we really can make a change across these indicators as we report them for 2016-17. Any questions, thoughts? So like I said, this is just an overview, getting a sense of the kind of the pulse of the state right now and the CCBs of where we are for our 15-16 data. And then I will be sending out individual performance profiles so each CCB knows where they're performing.
Amanda, did you mention when that's happening?
We just finalized and submitted our OSUB data, so it may take a little bit of time. I'm hoping to have that within the next month out to you, but that's an ambitious goal to make sure that I'm getting this information directly to each of the CCBs, and I'll do my best to do that. Oh, Melinda, none reported means that I think specifically these fall under the transition. They may not have had a transition for a child within that year. So we see this in some of the smaller CCBs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so for fiscal year 16-17 data monitoring, so all CCBs are falling into one of 4 color categories, and this is based on fiscal year 15-16 data. So I just want to kind of give everybody a reminder and a little overview. So the blue is the top category, and we have 3 CCBs in there. Green is second, and we have 5 CCBs. Orange is the third, and we have 5 there. And then red, we have 7 CCBs. So to ensure transparency and continued progress, the General Supervision and Data Unit, so we're going to be more involved with the monitoring of the current fiscal year data cleanup. Additional TA will be provided based on progress of data entry, and more details will be provided in March. So we're just finishing up collecting second quarter data. All of that was due by yesterday. I ran the reports yesterday, so I will be putting together the results and sending them out. This is a great opportunity for users for CCBs to move up a color category, and also CCBs can move down a color category. So.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. So as many of you are aware, we have really been struggling to identify why families that are referred through CAPTA complete eligibility and enter early intervention services at a much lower rate. And we have reached out to you a lot. We've done a lot of work in this area, and we still just don't have a sense of what it would take to support families to go through the eligibility process and have more children in early intervention services. So we've been working with Lorindia Schmidt out of Child Welfare, and the Division of Children, Youth, and Families has generously agreed to fund a study to really look more closely across the state at why these numbers for completion are so low. And we are going to be contracting with the University of Colorado at Denver to conduct this research. They have some graduate students that are interested in this topic, and they're going to be looking at the existing data that we have available to us at the state level, so through Child Welfare and EI. And as a result of that, they're going to be asking for more information from you at the program level around what you're seeing and hearing and activities that you've already engaged in to try to increase participation. So you may be contacted to participate on some level, and we'll send out more information when we have the names of the individuals that are actually conducting the research and what the timeline looks like. But right now, we're getting the contract going and the scope of work, and so that is happening now, and we expect to wrap this up in June. So it's really an ambitious timeline because we know that this is a really critical piece of the work that we do, and we want to be able to inform the legislature in the August, September with our information. So stay tuned, and we will share more information about that. Any questions related to the CAPTA project or anything Ashley shared? Okay. So the next thing we want to reach out and invite folks to is we're getting ready to plan the agenda for the statewide meeting, and we have some things in mind that we need to discuss, but we've also received feedback that CCBs want to be more involved in the planning of the agenda, and so I am opening up an invitation for you to help shape this agenda. If you're interested, let me know by February 10th, and I anticipate that we will have probably 2 meetings, and you could participate via phone if that works out for you if you're far away. So please let me know. We'll probably keep the group pretty small, but if you're interested, I'd love to have you. So that being said, we do have more details about the statewide meeting. So you do know already that it's May 17th and 18th. It's going to be in Breckenridge at the Breckenridge Doubletree. And on your screen, you have the registration link. Tracy will also send that out after the call. And if you can register by April 10th, we can finalize numbers for those that need hotel rooms, what dates, any dietary concerns that you have. It is limited in terms of funding to 2 participants per CCB. We prefer that participants are in a leadership role, so you're either an EI coordinator or a director, lead service coordinator. There may be some CCBs that are asked to have more than 2 participants, and if that is the case, if you're required to do that, we'll be funding that. If you would like to have more than 2 participants and fund those individuals, please contact Tracy regarding availability around space, and it'll be on a first come, first served basis. So we're excited to have a little bit of a getaway in Breckenridge and come together again this year. Questions or comments around the statewide meeting? Okay. So now we just want to draw your attention to some upcoming dates and deadlines. That December indicator report will be due Monday the 6th. And we have a few Go For It visits coming up. Developmental Pathways is next week on the 7th and 8th. Our final Cohort 2 Go For It training with Envision is February 9th. And you will not be able to reach us on the 20th. The state office is closed. Also want to remind you there's a conference. The Conference on Inclusive Education is also on the 9th as well as the 10th. And then our next CICC meeting will be in April at Developmental Pathways on the 19th. So that is what we have from the early intervention team today. Oh, I have one more just brief update clarification. So we did share that EI Colorado will support you in funding the purchase of an OAE device if you make the commitment to go through the training that is scheduled for February. If you need support in selecting an OAE, contact me and I can connect you with the right individual to get that purchased. We can support you with the purchase and the selection of the OAE. However, we will not be supporting ongoing maintenance and purchasing of earbuds and things of that nature. If for some reason you need an OAE and you're not able to attend the training on in the February dates, if you can commit to getting that training scheduled at a different time, we can still support you with the purchase of the OAE. So we know that it's kind of a tight turnaround. You also need to have children to practice with as part of that training. So I shared, Amanda, I believe it was last month's call. I can send that out again in terms of the OAE training. It's Vicki Thompson. But I'll send out the information again after the call today, okay? All right. Any other questions or announcements today? Okay, thank you for being on the call, and we will talk to you soon. Have a good day.